India has launched its first reusable hybrid rocket, RHUMI-1, which is developed by the Tamil Nadu-based startup and Space Zone India and Martin Group from Thiruvananthapuram today. The rocket was launched using a mobile launcher. It carries 3 cube satellites and 50 pico satellites into a suborbital trajectory. One of its key capabilities is an adjustable launch angle, which can be modified between 0 to 120 degrees, allowing for the precise control over its trajectory. Joining me on the broadcast is my colleague Ramesha. Ramesha, what we can understand at this point of time that this is a very big win in the technological and space sector for India, where a reusable rocket has been launched, and it's going to pave a very significant way for more technological advancement as far as India's study and so far research has been concerned.
Yes, Simran, the Space Zone India, as the space market now is extended to all other places, the private participation also included. The Space Zone India initiated the rocket launch and other activities. Their first venture to launch this reusable rocket, hybrid rocket. Today, it's a successful launch from the Chennai's Thiruvidandai, this coastal area for ECR road. They have done with the greater achievement. It's a great achievement. What ISRO's people also saying, the private participation from this launch, it is ensured from the India also. Now through this reusable launch vehicle, they could lift off many these student satellites, like the small satellites. They can lift off it to the suborbital trajectory. This can useful in the smaller areas where this academic purpose and other purposes would be served through this Space Zone India's this reusable hybrid rocket. It could be their study on this hybrid rocket will continue to make this space to be a big market, which is now India also explore.
India launches its first reusable hybrid rocket. It definitely is an important development for the country in the space sector and the technological advancement. Joining me on the broadcast is senior scientist and group captain VN Cha. I appreciate you joining me on the broadcast, sir. We welcome you on the broadcast. Now, in fact, this is a very welcome and indeed a happening news when we talk from the world of space, and where these kind of studies and researchers have been in the works for years, and now such a reusable and in the talk, where when we talk about the studies that have been conducted since years, this kind of a discovery and this kind of a development and win is indeed going to pave a way forward.
Very good morning, Simran, and it's a great day for Indian private agencies in the space sector. This is the benefit, this is the fruit that everyone is enjoying here in India after opening up the space sector. There are numerous possibilities in the space sector. Like today, that there are the cube satellites and there are the pico satellites, very small nano technologies, MEMS technologies carrying, it's a very small, maybe a student satellite, but tomorrow a similar satellite can be made which can sustain for years together with the nano and micro technologies. Because these days, technological, the leap in the technology for the very small circuits, chips, having credible sort of performance are there. So now we are seeing that the pico satellites are being launched. In a satellite, to be launched into an orbit, what is required is a launcher that can carry the satellite to the desired altitude and at a desired velocity, to remain in the orbit. The velocity of the satellites have to be acquired in the approximates of about 7.4 to 7.8 kilometers per second. So the moment you achieve that velocity, ISRO already has a technology of multiple injection. You may be aware, just a few years back, ISRO had launched satellites which carried about 104 odd satellites and injected in multiple orbits. So that technology is already here in that. So now this particular private firm, they have taken that technology of multiple injection. They have carried that many satellites and injected into those orbits. So what is required here? Reusable part is the one which makes it cost effective. And that mostly that reusable part is the first stage motor which carries the satellites beyond the atmosphere. After first stage is separated out, that has to come back somewhere and either the land on the ground safely or land in water safely where it can be retrieved. You know, SpaceX is using its first stage motor, which comes back and lands onto a deck. So that technology, of course, is with the US. And even if our technology is going to carry those first stage launcher and land back with the parachutes and things like that, that will serve the purpose. That will reduce the much of the cost of the first stage motor for the relaunch. Within another few days, that first stage will be again ready for reuse and relaunch. So that is what makes the entire thing very, very attractive. Now, any person, any agency, any institution, you know, small institutions, say IIT students have made rockets or they have made the payloads for the launch into the orbits, maybe satellites, maybe some other things. That now can be launched by this mobile satellite launcher without much of wang ho about the preparations and things like that. It's a mobile launcher where a fixed inclination is being given. A rocket goes, a rocket injects the payload or those satellites into the desired orbit at desired speed, and then it comes back to the Earth and lands somewhere. The first stage motor space, especially I'm talking of, lands back for the reuse. So it's a very attractive innovation in the rocket technology that we have. ISRO till now have not developed the reusable rocket. So it's a jump in the technology that with this particular technology, if it is a successful, if it has injected all the satellites at the desired inclination and velocity, then it's a quantum jump, game changer technology for India, and these private space sector will be soon absolutely viable. They will be launching the private satellites, smaller satellites at any given time. So it's a quantum jump in the technology, compliments the private agency to have taken up this particular launch. Simran.
Mr. Jha, also how this entails, hope for the research and definitely for study for global warming and climate change issues actually that India and the world has been grappling with specifically. Over there have been policies and more studies focused on how the climate change essentially has been rapidly impacting the lives and how the quality has been decreasing over the years. So this scientific and technological advancement which has now been made and achieved by India from Tamil Nadu, how this is going to pave the way forward for, advancing discoveries into the world of climate change and global warming?
Well, this is a very tricky issue, Simran, because climate change is happening due to various factors. Some of the scientists, they slightly differ from the thought process that UN climate agency have. Most of the country who are emitting carbon into our atmosphere, they feel it is the polluters of the climate, of the environment, which is making all significant changes in the climate. I also have written many papers onto this. I have delivered lectures at IITs. I have a slightly different view. Look, climate change is surely happening because of the pollution, and that pollution may be happening in the troposphere, in the lower atmosphere or in the upper atmosphere. Every time that we launch a rocket, it is going to emit a huge lot of smoke and other pollutants. So in the troposphere, in the lower atmosphere, There is a climate changes which is happening. There is an environmental process which is happening. There is a convection current. There is a climate phenomena. The rain happens. So most of the things, most of the pollutant in the troposphere, it comes back with the rain or with the convection current back to the Earth's surface or the ocean. But what happens in the stratosphere, that is the upper layer of the atmosphere, there the convection current is not there. And any pollution happening due to these rockets or burning of the rockets, or the destruction of the rockets, we have seen SpaceX burning their entire rocket in the upper atmosphere. Those are the ones which remain in the stratosphere for years together. And remaining those pollutants remaining for years in the upper atmosphere is the one which is going to trap most of the the heat up in there, so that radiation doesn't happen. Those are the most pollutant for the climate changes. I hope sometime UN also catches up these changes, because the upper atmosphere is the one which is more significant. And with these sort of studies, these sort of launches, these students, the universities, they will be studying the atmosphere at varying altitudes. More number of studies will now happen. Earlier, only the major players like US or China or Russia, they were doing the studies of this atmosphere. Now, many more institutions also, at a very fraction of the cost, you will be doing all these studies.
All right.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.